Yeah, no, we have our first trial run podcast. We want to call it a podcast.
Let us know in the comments if this sucks or you want to keep talking.
You're going to hear Chuck and I talk and blabber on for a little while.
Forever.
We got some good stuff here, some prep work by Braden.
Prep work.
For our episode number 1. A topic is kind of... we're going to talk about high performance driving. Yeah, no, like this is a casual. Yeah,
I was like, I didn't know if we're going or
this is how we're going to roll. It's going to be really casual.
Perfect.
You know, right?
Super
like we're already 10 minutes in.
So we're good. We're
10 minutes in. We saw all the pre-work and us.
I just got handed this piece of paper and said we're doing a podcast. People might like it. And here
the makeup just left. The hair, all the stuff that I need to kind of make sure I look good. But yeah, no, there's a lot more work to be done on that. But yeah, we're going to talk about high performance driving today.
Perfect.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Let's do it.
High performance driving.
I think it's a good one. It's because there's so many people out there that don't that haven't done it before, and they get kind of like, what do I do? How do I get into it? Because we've all been there at some point in our life. It's, some of us come to that point with a lot of experience, whether it's being a hooligan on the street,
yes,
or drifting through parking lots, or going out in the snowstorm to learn control your car, or there's some people have no experience.
Well, think about it. Let me ask you, how many track days we've probably done together? Hundreds of track days. I don't know, maybe that's exaggerating a little bit, but somewhere close to that. And I know I've seen, and I mean, you're going to have a few, but like we've seen on the track.
I know where you're going.
Volkswagen Jettas.
Yes.
Toyota Camrys.
Yes.
Right? So I bring this up only because it doesn't matter what you have.
You want to piss off the Miata crowd?
I mean, Miatas. Of course Miatas. You see a ton of them. They're like bees flying around.
It's really...
S2000s.
Again, there's nothing wrong with these cars, but when you have... I think a lot of it gets back to the and I think that's where we're going to help people. Whoever organizes these events, there's some people that like he mentions the Jetta. I was going 180 miles an hour into turn 1, and there was a Jetta just like pulling out of the pits. I'm like, goes across like it's like this is an advanced day. I think that's where we can help you guys say, hey, this is what you should do and look for a first event, because you want people being strict.
Right, and we want to encourage people to do this. Not everybody's going to come and have a 180 mile per hour car coming down. They won't do this. But that's the point of this, right? So
we are building a couple of cars for people that are pretty new with 900.
We are.
But hey, we're doing it, but we'll get them into the right events, and I think we can create a better environment.
But how many people are out there, right? Like I think where Braden's going with the topic is also how many people are out there wishing they can drive their car as their car is capable of driving, or may not even know their car's capable. Like the Jetta, I don't fault the Jetta being out there. Maybe they shouldn't be out there with you at 180 miles an hour.
Right.
But the guys out there or gal driving their car as the car could be intended to drive, maybe more so in some cases, because the Camry I was following was on fire.
You almost have to give more credit to someone like that than a guy that brings a Ferrari to every car show. I mean,
it doesn't drive it.
Right. Worried about the miles because it's going to be worth more. Again, if that's what, that.
Absolutely.
That's what our whole bit, like everything that the motorsport stands for, is about getting your car on the track.
Yeah.
And, Jim and I take every car we've ever owned on the track.
This is true. We had the Raptor on.
Can we cut like clips into this?
Yeah, sure.
So what would be cool is to show when Jim and I went at Blackhawk, I got the Raptor Bronco on 2 wheels out of a corner. Absolutely. The lady jumped out of there's like literally the flag stand. She's literally jumps out of the flag stand and starts running. I wish we had video of it, but literally takes off. She's like, I swear you're going to roll it into the thing. Like, no, we controlled it.
You can take anything. You can actually, to that point, you can take anything out on the track that you want. And I know there are a lot of folks out there, car guys, gals, that are thinking, instead of having the nut on the freeway that's running in the right lane or left lane, weaving out of traffic, going, hey, look how fast my car is.
Right.
They can actually take their car on the on a local track, or do a local what is it called when they
autocross.
Autocross.
Yeah.
You can do the autocross too, and you can really see the performance of your car. So, like, anybody can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, like, if you're in Wisconsin where we are, there's like Road America has a ton of track days, but it's also intimidating going to one of the most one of the top tracks in
high speed track.
Exactly, in the entire country, let alone it's an hour from us.
Right.
But yeah, and that's where we can help though, because Road America does have some entry level track days that they get rid of that kink. Because everybody's heard about the kink at Road America, but if you want to get out there for your first time, maybe do it. But that's where, again, we're gonna, talk.
When I first got to the Madison area, coming from Minnesota, my first track experience here was at Blackhawk,
Yeah.
which I think is a great track
Yep.
for a beginner. I went and now I was doing some other driving courses and classes and things like that, but my first time taking my car that I owned, onto a track and driving it, it was at Blackhawk. And I did just a beginner class, had an instructor, and it was a blast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, holy cow.
And I think some of those like shorter tracks are going to have like less like intimidation, because the thing is, these stock cars now, you even have just a stock GT500, you're going 160 miles an hour into turn one, 160. At Blackhawk, you're not hitting those high of speed, so you get to learn the braking, the turn in, the apex, how to control the car. But yeah, again, that's something that's cool. And we have it, if you're local, we have track days at Blackhawk and Road America. But
I would absolutely, to that point, I would encourage anyone out there, no matter what you're driving, and we're making fun of the Camrys of the world that are actually on the high speed tracks.
Yep.
There's no reason why you can't. I think that we could talk a little bit about what you should do to prepare your car for the track, but get a car out. Go to a local track, wherever it might be, wherever you are. Find out what open days they have. Every track, I think, has open days. Like they run.
Yeah.
And they have a course, and they have a class,
Absolutely.
and then they have instructors.
Yep.
And you progress through beginner to intermediate to advanced. And
it's a fun progression. I think we're, going back to those cars real quick, it's not necessarily the driver of the car's fault, like that's in the Camry or the Jetta. It's the organization that runs the track days to allow certain cars into these groups. And I think the cars we're talking about were a beginner level and an advanced class. So when you have advanced drivers like us that are, used to being able to pass, with or without a point by in the turns, and we see a guy miss the apex by, 50
just
feet.
not driving properly.
That's
it's unsafe.
Right.
It's
so
scary.
Make sure you vet, like we're doing some stuff with Chin, and even with us is very experienced. Like that's a really good organization if you're outside of Wisconsin. Find a place that's really strict. As much as you want to go to advance as fast as you can, you find a group that'll vet you and make sure the more questions they're asking you to get into a certain level of the track day, probably the better you are as a beginner.
The better you are. And don't get you can't get overly confident. I mean, to this day, I would have an instructor drive with me every time I go out if I could, because you just become a better driver each and every single time. And I think as a beginner, truly, like taking your car out for the first time, the most impressive for me, I don't know about you, but the most impressive, performance part of the car, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, is the braking.
Exactly.
Right? Like acceleration, everybody has had a chance on, whatever local highway or back road you have. Oh, look how fast my car is, 0 to 60.
On-ramp.
And only got them over 100 miles per hour.
Or everybody leaving our cars and coffee.
leaving cars and coffee like fools. But when you're, so you kind of know speed, and when you're on large tracks or small tracks, the speed, everything kind of shrinks. So speed isn't you're not as aware, you're not looking at speedometers, you're looking at the track. But the braking, holy crap.
And that's,
the braking's insane.
Yeah, and I think that
on a Jetta, it would be insane for the normal person, right? Because who brakes at 100%, 99%,
like
every single time?
Absolutely. And I think that's also getting into, we talked about how one of our topics is we want to tell you guys how do you get your car ready. And I think going into the brakes are the absolute number one thing you need to have serviced.
Well, how about tires? Tires, maybe? Tires and brakes. Brakes, probably. You got to stop.
I think brakes are number one. Because
that's fair.
Every track day, like every track event, there's somebody that didn't get their brakes done. And, fortunately, a lot of the stuff isn't major, but we do see some pretty crazy stuff. But it all comes back down to somebody had the same brake fluid for 3 months. But kind of some of the guys that we go and track with, and our kind of thing is like, if you ask somebody what brake fluid they have in their car and they can't answer that question, I think you need to restart and go to get your brake fluid done, because getting a proper brake fluid and brakes and stuff. But don't go on there are a lot of forums out there that tell you like what is good and what pads and this and that. But I think you got to find a reputable shop, whether it's us or anybody else that's done this, that knows how to match up the rotor and what pad and like what car and like what things, if you should have stainless braids and what type of temperature brake fluid you have. That's just something. Just find somebody that has really good experience with the car that you're driving and ask for. It's not some people take it like, well, I can't ask questions because I don't want.
And everybody at the track wants to
100% help each other.
I mean, without a doubt, it's a
100%.
great community. Yeah, you definitely want that.
And I think maintenance is the number one thing when you do go out, but just make sure that you.
Because if you're running out, Troy, you know better than me, really. If you're running out in a, let's say, we're picking on Jet. I don't know why it came to mind. My son had a Passat. I saw a Passat out there once too. Like on a regular passenger sport vehicle, let's say it's like the R type of whatever car it is.
Call it 325.
325.
BMW.
You can run through a pair of pads
100%.
without question.
And
if they're passenger pads.
Ask me how I know.
right.
I took
like in a
BMW.
like a day of track day, like
2 laps.
2 laps.
So
Really,
it just shows you, like, and
Right.
this is young Chuck. This goes back to when I was like 17 years old. I'm going around America, a parade lap, not even like a full race,
parade lap.
but like literally going. But like that's just stock brakes,
Right.
no lines, stock fluids.
Right.
The brake fluid it absorbs moisture and then that lowers the boiling point. I was able to boil my brakes just on literally like 5 laps of Road America, like not even going full. But that just
he's
goes
buying
to show
the
you.
generic brake fluids at that time.
No, I don't even know. It was, I
like
was probably the
canola
factory
oil.
bag.
Was it canola
For all I
oil?
know, it's 20-year-old brake fluid. But those are the things like, you
Sure,
know,
absolutely.
yeah, young and dumb. But if you don't know what you don't know, and that is the most important thing is I think the brakes.
Brakes are
because we even see race car guys that are out there. They put stainless steel brake lines on their car, and they're turning the car a lot. They didn't secure it right, rubs through the brake line, and one guy went into Canada Court.
right. No,
boom.
absolutely.
And we saw it. I saw it live.
Absolutely.
It's just that's the kind of stuff where it's like make sure you have a good shop do this. And if there's a lot of qualified people that can do it in your
Right.
garage.
Right.
Make sure you're not messing around with those brakes.
So car maintenance, we'll talk about that in a second,
Yep.
or car prep. But even just like kind of if you're going to the track for the first time, what is it? Usually, you need a helmet.
Yep.
Every track day organization or track, if they're reputable,
Yes.
are going to require you to
Yes.
wear a helmet.
Yep.
Restraints, passenger seatbelt is usually fine for any beginner. But helmets, is it Snell?
2015.
2015
If you don't
usually.
have one, I always recommend buying the latest
Recent,
one,
right.
which is 2020.
Yeah,
So,
making sure it has a tag or something
yeah,
like
you
that.
can get
Don't hold
FIA
me accountable.
stuff, but if this is your first time, you're not going to buy. I mean,
No, I
some
would
people
spend
buy
a lot of
$2,000
yeah,
helmet, but
$89.99.
You can get them on Amazon. Just
Yeah.
make sure it's a Snell rated because I can't tell you how many people have gone to the track
Right.
with their DOT helmet from their motorcycle or
Right.
snowmobile.
Been there.
And yeah,
My first helmet
yeah,
I wore was a motocross helmet.
Yeah,
The guy
literally,
looked
it's like, no.
It was green, like Kawasaki with the face thing. And I was pulling in. This was that first day.
They
of
just
flight,
know
and
right
they
away.
looked at me like,
Oh, one of these
It's
guys.
bad.
And they only usually have a couple helmets that they rent out. So the first 2 guys that wear their Kawasaki's
not every
in
helmet.
get the helmet.
Kawasaki helmet. I even had my goggles on. No, I didn't have my goggles on.
You take your windshield out too.
Exactly. It's a rally car.
Then you really feel like you're going fast at the
Bad.
track.
Yeah. But yeah, so helmet, gear, driving gloves, some use, some don't. It's because sometimes your hands sweat, You're not a big driving glove guy. I actually use driving gloves, but, the
I like
hand
to leave
sweat.
my DNA for the next guy.
Right, you like to leave the DNA for next time. I'm particular about my steering wheel. The Alcantara just gets all nasty, but whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just buy
Those
new
are-
steering wheel.
Yeah, that might be
If you buy a new steering wheel at the end of the 500 I
session.
have is
grinding it. But you drive, and when you drive, right? I've seen you in your videos. I've definitely, call it, what is that, 9 and 2 or 10 and 2,
Yeah.
kind of, 10 and 2. In the element, but you're very loose, with the
I'll
fingers.
go one like when you see in the carousel.
Yeah.
I'm coming around. I'm not even. I'll one hand.
You wanna be relaxed.
My 216. I'm literally just. But that's just it's some people drive different than
And do you
others.
drive close, or like I was always taught, you drive with a little bit of a bend in your arms.
The kind of the rule of thumb is if this is the steering wheel, the top of the steering wheel, that your hand just kind of your wrist is be able to go over the top.
Right.
I'm somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a
you
little.
wanna
I'm a
be
little
comfortable.
different. I have short legs. I'm 6'3", but I have 30-inch inseam legs, so I gotta crunch myself against the. We get to be able to push the full brake.
Right.
But that's another thing is people don't realize they start going out on the track, and they're like, oh, they've never set up their car, and they're trying to mess with their seat. Last thing you want to do is set up
No,
your
you want to
seatbelt,
kind of
your
set all
mirrors,
that stuff up
everything.
before you
Oh.
go. So helmet, gloves maybe, restraints if you need to. If you're ever using if you're a beginner, this maybe not relative to you yet or relevant, are the restraints, the harness. You definitely want a Hans device if you're
Yep.
in a restraint of some sort.
Yep.
Because there's no give like a passenger seatbelt.
Snap the old neck.
Snap the old neck.
We don't want
And
that.
yeah, I think that's mostly what you need to go do, and kind of enjoy, take a risk, have some fun, no matter what the car is. But regarding the car, brakes,
Yeah.
tires. I mean,
you're
Black Hawk
in
is
your
a
oil.
local track near us. I don't know if there's like 10, 11 turns, but it's
Yeah.
a mile and a half, 2.75 miles.
Almost 2 miles.
Almost 2 mile.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Good.
turns, not high speed, but it really works your
Hard on
tires
brake and tires and brakes. Yeah, 100%.
So be prepared.
Because you never have at that track, some of these shorter ones, you also have to be almost more worried about. Road America,
Yes.
you have all those long straights to cool the brakes,
Yes.
which is good and bad. But like for like a
Even autocross, I would imagine, it's got to be. I don't
because
do a
you have
lot
no
of
time to
autocrossing,
cool the brakes.
but it's got to be harder on your brakes than some tracks.
Yeah, it is. But and then the nice thing is with autocross, you just have one run,
Right.
and then you're out. But I've seen people lose brakes in
Right.
autocross.
And your tires.
Yeah.
Tires. It's
Tires.
funny. People come in, I want to go fast, and the first things we talk to them about are
Tires.
tires,
Brakes.
brakes.
Yep.
Like in either one of those orders first. Then we don't even get to the power. Then you're on like suspension, safety. Okay, now because look, any one of the cars on the street today, I think you can get into a lot of trouble on any track.
And I think people work backwards, and like from what we try to tell
Mm-hmm.
people, they want all the power, and then they kind of like. And granted, the 500 is a really good chassis and stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
there's
yeah.
still things that when you upgrade the power that much, that you want to get more, suspension, less like the bushings, the axles we have had. Some
Right.
But like those are all things that we've tested and found
Sure.
what we need. But I think the biggest thing though is like don't go crazy with the first car on the track. Don't get some 900
No,
horsepower
no,
car.
no, no, no.
Because
Learn
learn to drive on a car that you don't have to worry about.
We live in Wisconsin. I'm sure you've done this, but we get enough snow and sand out there to learn how to control a car in the parking lots and
Exactly.
things like that.
I was
A
fortunate.
little bit of car
yeah,
control.
exactly. If you watch our other videos, I've become
Or donut king.
a parking lot warrior. But yeah, back in the day in high school, before you'd be on the TV and the news in the afternoon for doing drifting and donuts in the snow. That's how I learned car control. But
Exactly.
there are some car control clinics and classes you can go to in different tire stuff where they like wet the track and they teach you. And actually, Road America has some like driving school stuff too.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
I think one of the other things too, once you get all your car maintained to get out, I think it's very important. Most people don't understand that like insurance, like your normal insurance will not cover you
Yes,
at
it's
Road
very
America. So if you're at Road America,
Or really, I think any track.
any track, yeah,
Really?
any track, 100%.
They're called driving schools, but
Yeah.
you got to be really careful with your insurance.
Yep. So what we're gonna do, we have worked a relationship with Open Track, so we'll throw in a link on the bottom. You can go through that, and that's what we use, and it can get you right to the website you need for track insurance. There's also Haggerty and some other stuff out there, but we've tried them all, and this one seems to work really well for us.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, insurance is a good one. Insurance, it's not an inexpensive hobby.
no.
I mean, wear and tear on your cars, brakes, repair, maintenance, tires, insurance, just equipment. And then you can want to do more and more and more. So it becomes a very expensive hobby. How about advice? Like if you think about driving advice on the track, I think one thing that I was told, not I think, but I was told that I always remember, even to this day, and you might have said this to me, Chuck, a few times, is, when you talk about car control, like the car goes where your eyes go, like to a certain degree, right? I mean, you're good at this, but like if you're looking at the wall, that's where the car is going. If you're looking down the track,
Yep.
then miraculously the car ends up, if you're getting a little loose, the car ends up, I would say more times than not, if you're not doing something really stupid, the car ends up going where your eyes are. And vision is really important when you're driving on the track and on the road, but looking ahead,
100%.
looking far ahead.
And I think what people do with the looking ahead, 100 out of 100 times the biggest number one beginner mistake is they can drive by themselves, but when that guy comes up behind you and you think you're faster than them or you want to start racing them in an HPD event, you end up, we call it driving their car. So you're more worried about their car not catching you, or you're trying to keep up with a guy ahead of you with a car that's not.
You're just out of your own.
You're out of your league. And that 100% is the number one reason people crash. Because they're either trying to outrun somebody from behind. If a car gets behind you on track, just flag them by, let them go. They didn't get there for no reason. They'll tell you at every track event. But when you have when you try to drive faster than you've ever driven to try to prove something. Like, no one out there is going to be more frustrated than, you. Like, when you hit the wall and you shut down the whole event because you're trying to prove something, it's just never going to be a good day. And you lose your car, and then people
you
lose
really,
track time.
you have to, you make a great point. You have to check your ego.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, the best, you really do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there are people going to be faster than you.
I had it happen.
That just happens.
I had a professional race car driver that won IMSA. He won all that stuff. I was in my GT500, and this guy was in a fully built race car. My car was faster, slower car.
Yeah.
I was doing way faster lap times to the tune of 8 seconds. He was not letting me by. I was respecting the rules of not doing a pass by. Guess what?
Yep.
Guy totaled his car on turn 13, went right in the wall, and completely
He's
totaled his
looking in
car
the mirror.
because he's trying to prove something.
Right.
And what that is, I don't know. He proved that his car is destroyed now, and he shut
proved
down
that
the track, and it didn't.
It can't make turn 13 that fast. That's what he proved. But yeah, no, I think that's the ego thing. I mean, the drivers' meetings when you go to any track event are so important, and some of the best ones are the folks that lead those meetings that are just very direct about, ego. It's not a competition. There's time for racing. If you all want to learn to race, that's fantastic. But look, we all want to drive our cars home.
Yeah.
And most of us drive them there. And let people pass. And you know what? If you catch them on the turn because your car handles better than theirs, is not as fast, then they should let you pass when you get there too. But
absolutely.
Yeah, no, the vision on the track, driving in your mirror, that I think the driving in the mirror truck is more of an advanced, intermediate advanced classes.
Because I think most people that are out in the beginner don't even look in their mirror.
Well, and they probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in a beginner class,
yeah,
you hope that you're not running over people and they're running over you. But that comes with time on the track and experience.
But you can, if you have a faster car in the beginner, you're going to be catching other people, and then you end up, or you're trying to follow that little bit faster car and you're trying to prove something. Don't try to prove anything to anybody when you're getting ready and getting on the track. Like, just learn the track, be yourself, let people go by, and if other people are being dumb, let them be dumb and do your own thing.
Right.
Because that for sure is, it'll come. And the number one thing is the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the more confidence you build, the more everything just flows. Yeah. Because, you pretty much, your goal is to carry as much speed through the entire track safely as you can. And the more confidence, the more time and all that stuff, it all builds up you get better lap times, you get better confidence, and everything builds up. But you have to, it's all experience, but you got to have the right experience.
Smooth is fast.
Yeah, 100%.
Smooth is fast.
You see some choppers out there.
Smooth is fast. Right.
Or people on YouTube trying to look how fast I am. And then you meet them in real life and they're really not that fast.
Oh, they kind of just shake it for a fact.
Exactly.
Or they turn up the camera shutter speed.
Exactly.
That makes it look a little faster. But
weird.
Yeah.
Or just pause it when you go by the light.
Yeah. I don't know how long we want to go today, but this is our first trial here at a little bit of a podcast. I think it's a cool subject. Most importantly around this subject is that there are clubs, motorsport.reg.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Club? Is there a club one?
I think,
but like
there's
a search
there's BMW,
on Google.
There's a SCCA, there's BMW Car
PCA,
Club,
Porsche
Club
Clubs.
America. All of them usually have track days.
Yeah,
For some reason, our local one doesn't like to do track days, but
it's unfortunate. But
but
we'll have to work on that.
Exactly.
But yeah, search that. You can find clubs out there that have all levels of classes.
Yeah.
We want you all. We encourage this because I think I'd rather see you driving on a track at speed and braking and learning car control than tailgating me on 12 out the road here.
Or see how fast you can burn out
down
out of the
across
cars
my
and
neighborhood.
coffee.
With the kids crossing
Exactly.
the street. So I encourage that. It's a great thing to do. It's a great hobby. It's an expensive hobby, but when you realize what your cars, no matter what they are, whether it's the Jetta or the GT500 or a LaFerrari, you're going to be really impressed with what you believe your car can do and what it actually can do with a professional driver or someone like Chuck driving your car. It's a different experience for sure.
Yep. And I think if you guys are watching your experience and you made it this far, throw comments in the comment section.
Yeah.
Or if you have any questions or anything you want us to answer, feel free to throw them down there. We'll answer all the questions and go from there. But I think for us, we also want to have feedback. Is this something you want to see more of? Because we have so many car stories. I mean, this is like a pile of our stuff that we've had. There's a story for every piece. The pile of junk has a story behind every one.
Right.
But
exactly.
if that's something you guys want to see more of, just like and make sure you please
let us know.
Comment down below and subscribe, because that's how we can afford to sit here in these chairs and talk to you.
Come up with topics. Or we just have to listen to Braden when he hands us a sheet right before we're walking in.
Exactly. I think we did pretty good for like literally no. I literally had 2 seconds.
Look,
no, you started the podcast before
I kind of
started
did.
this.
Well, look, I love this question here. If these are like outtakes now. No, if you could you buy and build a car for track days less than 35,000? What would it be? I think you absolutely. I mean, clearly you can. We mentioned a few cars that are out there on track days.
We
I don't know if they're track.
We have a 2007 GT500. Put race pads on it, brake flush, we'll run.
And we're good. Yeah. No,
you can do a S550. You can do a base level. I mean, people. I know some people that have more fun than anybody, maybe even include myself, in a V6 twin turbo Mustang that just can go to every track day, not have any issues.
Absolutely.
Less wear and tear in the car.
Absolutely.
It's just easy.
I mean, like Supras, Celicas.
Yeah.
Not Celica. I'm dating myself on a Celica. Jesus. We're gonna cut that one, Braden.
Nope. Leave it in.
Even Miata, like we joke about Miatas, but I'm sure they're a blast to drive.
They're a blast. Just do it. Just don't come to our track days.
Just don't do the advancing. And
honestly, it's probably we would have a blast if we were all in Miatas. But the fact is we've become to a point where we're doing sub 220 lap times at Road America, which is pretty slow. Like, and you have a car that's we're 20 seconds faster on the track.
We're ripping on the Miata Club. I'm gonna get some hate there, but that's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Braden. Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah.
Thanks
We'll
for
see you in
some
the
time
next
with us.
one if you guys want us to do another one.